This is DDS. From the DDS studios, we are your hosts, Blake Melton, Bradley Newberry, and from the man cave, you know him, you love him, it is Matthew Two-Tone Blue Parker. Parker, what's going on, dude?
Just trying not to melt my face off, man. That's about it.
That's good to hear. Well, guys, hey, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate you tuning in to us on YouTube. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button down below for us. Hit the notification bell for notifications of new videos. Hit the Rumble button on Rumble. Share these videos all with your friends. And check us out on all of our social media, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at DDS Sports Talk. And you can find the audio versions of all these podcasts on Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and the like. Boys, let's jump right into it. Newberry, what we got today?
Free at last, free at last. Baker Mayfield is free at last.
Absolutely.
The Cleveland Browns have traded Baker Mayfield to the Carolina Panthers for a 2024 fifth-round pick that could turn into a fourth-round pick. And now, Parker, we see the Carolina Panthers with both the number 1 and number 3 draft picks of the 2018 draft on the same team. How about that?
Yeah, and you know what? Their odds in Vegas when they traded for Baker, actually the Panthers' odds to win their division went down. Went from 10-1 to 11-1. I mean, I hate on Baker all the time, but the year before last year, when he was hurt last year, he had a pretty decent year. He went for 3,600 yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. I'm not saying he's awesome, but he's a heck of a lot better than Sam I'm seeing Ghost Darnold.
What were your initial thoughts about this?
I mean, so from a fan's perspective, I'm sitting here looking at this, and, you know, there's been so much smoke and mirrors with the Deshaun Watson thing that Baker just kind of fell by the wayside. It made you start to think that, you know what, we still have Baker over here, right? So there's Deshaun, there's Baker. What are they really thinking here? And now that they've made this move, I guess they're just trying to offload. I don't know. It kind of shows you where they stand on all this, for
It's
sure.
not really an offload. I think that we discussed that they had burned so many bridges early on, even before trading for Deshaun Watson, that I never believed that Baker was going to play one more snap for the Cleveland Browns anyway. It was just a matter of time, Parker. After this move, I mean, the Cleveland and Baker relationship's not quite over.
Yeah.
Let me explain. The Cleveland Browns have agreed to pay $10.5 million of this year's Baker Mayfield salary, and the Panthers are only on the hook for $5 million. Relationship over, Parker.
No, they had to make the trade, but think about this, y'all. This is how much the NFL hates Baker right now. So they're having to pick up most of his contract, and they get a 5th round, probably a 4th round pick out of it. It cost the Washington Commanders more to get Carson Wentz. It cost the Indianapolis Colts more to get Matt Ryan. Like this guy, man, like I said, he's a starting quarterback in the league. He was the number 1 overall pick just a few years ago. It bewilders me of how fast this guy's fallen, and never again will a quarterback that's slightly hurt try to play through his injury.
So when this smoke settles here, Blake, let me tell you what Carolina has at quarterback versus what the Cleveland Browns have in their quarterback room. Carolina, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, and rookie Matt Corral. Not bad, not bad. I mean, you got some workable pieces, right? Workable.
I guess, maybe.
Cleveland, Deshaun Watson, doubtful, right?
The way things are looking, I mean, I don't think that's going to be our viable option.
Number 2, Jacoby. I've been on almost every team, Brissett. And number 3, your boy, Josh Dobbs.
Look,
that's what they're left
I
with.
love me some Josh Dobbs, but Josh Dobbs is not an NFL quarterback. He is a very brilliant mind. He's probably the smartest scout team quarterback that you'll ever find, but he's just not an NFL quarterback. So that's not even really on the table. So now you're talking Jacoby Brissett. And my thing is if they come to the same conclusion that Josh Dobbs is not really an option in the NFL, I don't even know if he's a backup quarterback in the NFL. What do they do then? Because I'm just convinced that this Deshaun Watson thing is going to be ugly for Cleveland.
10 months ago, when we were doing our prediction podcast, I sat on this show and said, if the Browns traded for Deshaun Watson, they would be my Super Bowl pick. And they did, but he's not going to play. And the reason I said that was just how good their roster is, and their roster is that good again, and they cannot burn a year. I am going to go out on a limb here and say, could the starting quarterback for this team be Jimmy G?
Ooh. Wait a second.
So
do we have a Parker conspiracy theory going on?
You're
here?
hinting at that they may want to pay Baker, Watson, Brissett, Dobbs, and Jimmy G. How many quarterbacks are they going to pay for this year?
Hey, like Carolina's doing it. They're still paying for Cam Newton and God knows, go back down the list. It's insane. But they have a roster. That's the point. To throw away a year where you have a legit Super Bowl team. That is what they are doing with Jacoby Brissett starting at quarterback. They are quitting on the year.
I don't disagree. It's horrible. It's
now
we talking about Matt Ryan not being mobile. Sorry, Jacoby.
Yeah, we've seen firsthand here in Nashville how immobile Jimmy G is. So my question is though, is I mean, there's still obviously a lot of money tied up in this whole Deshaun thing. How is that going to play out, and what is that? How does that marry with this Jimmy G idea? I mean, there's got to be some dollars that they can get themselves out of, right?
No, not really. It depends. It depends on what he gets suspended, right? So if he gets suspended for a few games, it looks a little different, but I'm going to go with the assumption that he's going to be suspended for a year. This guy is owed about $45 million in signing bonus money. That's what he got guaranteed when he signed this. He actually hasn't gotten any of it yet. 15 million's due by July 31st, another 15 million by next January, another 15 by next March. Guys, this is guaranteed. Like, even if he gets suspended for the year, I thought maybe it pushed his contract would still expire in 2026. It doesn't. It just restarts everything in 2020 next year and goes through 2027. It doesn't change anything with the signing bonus money, but everything else just gets pushed back a year. And how they could get out of this contract, I've seen it floating around, is could they void, let's just say, could they void this and be done and out of this contract? And the answer is a little sticky. Like, they're supposedly Deshaun Watson came out and told them everything to do about the massages, wrote it down, and they said anything to do about these massages, unless it's brand new, you can't, nothing, your contract cannot be voided because of it.
Okay.
There are two legal people that think differently about that. I've seen one legal mind that says if more massages came out and he didn't tell them about that, they could void it. But there's other people that said, no, it can be nothing to do about massages. It has to be something completely different. And they're stuck with it. It doesn't sound like they can get out of it.
That just seems crazy to me. So if it is found in these arbitration hearings that he had violated the league's personal conduct policy, how does that not void his contract? That's a terrible job
already
of
knew
negotiating.
I mean, that was something.
It doesn't matter. Well, that's my thing. I think that's terrible on the lawyers of the Browns' part.
Well, it's just terrible upon the Browns' part.
I mean,
right,
because
it has nothing to do about lawyers. It's the Browns being stupid.
Yeah,
and it's not even Deshaun Watson's fault. I encourage every player to get paid.
Yeah,
it's just the Browns making a bad decision.
At this point, it's on the Browns. It is literally in his contract that he cannot get in trouble for the massages for the Browns organization over the next 2 years. For the first 2 years of the contract, it has to be a completely separate incident. I mean, that is written in there. There's a reason he went to Cleveland. There's a reason it came out that he was not going to Cleveland, and then the next day he was. Guaranteed money, language of the contract, and just absolutely. I mean, I would take it too. The Browns are just absolutely stupid, and they may have set their franchise back. I mean, decades, literally decades.
Yeah, because they're going to be stuck with this, according to what you're saying. No matter what the outcome, they're stuck with them.
the way that I'm
what I'm hearing?
reading that is that they cannot get out of this without some type of law,
Payout
like
or
going
buyout.
buyout, going to maybe taking it to court. But even if you're in court, you're still stuck with that salary cap for the time being.
Oh my gosh.
It's
This
just
is
bad
such
decision.
this is just such Cleveland shit to happen. They are Clevelanding this up. They're Browns in the hell out of this. This is just so stupid. I don't understand.
Enjoy
when we
paying your
were-
quarterbacks that aren't even going to play. For
I know.
you.
I mean, I just don't understand why anybody would agree to that. I don't.
And
get it.
maybe that makes me think, why would Jimmy G want to get caught up in the middle of this?
Well,
Maybe he doesn't.
I mean, for a guy who likes dating porn stars, I don't know. I don't know if I would want to get involved in a situation over there like that too.
I don't know. I haven't heard that. It just makes sense in my head, right? Like they need a quarterback, and who else is out there? And they don't. I would assume 49ers don't want to trade within division to the Seahawks. So, like, who else would trade for him?
I mean, but your point taken. I mean, they're wasting a very viable year to be a contender.
Dude, Amari Cooper, Nick Chubb. They've got their defensive line's incredible. It's going to be all for naught if they don't get a quarterback.
I don't even know what to say.
I'm not going to cry about it being a fan of an AFC team. Bye, Cleveland.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, leave it to Cleveland. You know,
hey, as much as we
Ohio.
made fun of Houston over the last couple of years, they are sitting back loving this.
I mean, Houston's ahead of the curve. They hit the reset button. They drafted well. We all gave them good feedback on their draft this year. We'll see with the QB thing, but that's the beautiful thing about Houston's spot is, who cares if he goes out and performs well again this year, then they may have stumbled upon something at QB. If he doesn't, oh, well, it's no loss on their situation.
Well, one last thing to think about Houston. They've got Cleveland first-round pick for next year. If they go Jacoby Brissett, if Davis Mills sucks, there is a world that Houston has the number 1 and number 2 pick in one of the most sought-after quarterback classes that we've seen in years. Imagine if they trade out of those. They could parlay Deshaun Watson into like 7 first-round picks. I know that's insane, but they really could.
Good grief. Can you imagine?
In our own AFC South division.
Yeah.
The Houston freaking Texans. As long as it's not the Colts, do we care? Bye, Colts.
Yeah.
We all hate the Colts.
Fuck the Colts.
Hey, going back to Baker real quick. As I'm scrolling through the Twitterverse, what's the Robbie Anderson story? I mean, do they not love each other? Was he saying this to be silly? I mean, well,
he's stupid. So the report came out on Twitter that I think it was actually a PFF post or whatever, something like that. They were looking at trading for Baker a few months ago, and Robbie Anderson commented on that post and just put no. And when asked about it at OTAs, he was like, "Look, I was just trying to stick up for my quarterback at the time. I wanted to make Sam Darnold feel good. And now, of course, they've traded for him. And he's like, quit trying to make it a thing. I have nothing against Baker. You're the one that posted it, dude. It wasn't initially asked. Like, you just you didn't have to say anything. You didn't have to say anything.
Oh, it's great. That's really fun. It's the backpedal now. And the media
totally
won't
backtracking.
The media won't let it go. I mean, they're going to latch onto that forever. Let's hope for Carolina's sake. Maybe they have a healthy Christian McCaffrey. I guess this means sorry, Cam, because I believe they were in kind of communication with Cam Newton, believe it or not, again. But this completely shuts the door with Cam Newton.
Yeah, I mean, what are they going to do? Try Ben Roethlisberger next?
No, they've got enough.
That made me laugh right there. That was a chuckle and
that
a
made
half
you
right
LOL.
there.
Huh?
I totally LOL'd.
I mean, between Baker, Darnold, and Corral, they got enough to work with. We know the class in that division is still going to be Tampa Bay. We'll see about Jameis Winston and the Saints. Falcons could possibly be one of the 3 worst teams in the league.
Whatever. Fuck the Falcons.
You're right.
Baby
The
birds.
New Orleans is completely up in the air. I have no idea what to expect from them when we're doing our records. Are they going to win 6 games? Are they going to win 10 games? I have no idea.
Boy, we kind of felt that way last year. I was reviewing our NFC South predictions, and we all three of us had, when we went through the game by game win loss, we were like, wait, this feels way too high.
Yeah.
And we all came down.
Yeah, we're like, wait,
we didn't know anything
stop,
about the Saints.
You're getting out of hand here.
Did you have something on the a little angle on the judge?
Oh, that's right. So there's been a lot of talk about this. I was talking to someone the other day. It made me want to look in this a little bit more. The NFL and the NFLPA aren't having this argument amongst themselves to what Watson's going to get. They went in front of a judge, a federal judge. Her name is Sue Robinson. And a lot of people thought when they went in front to argue each other's cases, it was going to be a few hours. But she took this a lot more legitimately than people were expecting. It didn't last a few hours. It lasted 3 days. And she's still thinking about it. Just to give you some history on her, she served on a federal court in Delaware for 26 years and was the chief judge for 7 of those years. Before that, she was just an assistant United States attorney and a U.S. magistrate judge. So whatever she says, and she's a female ruling on a female-related case, what she says, I believe, is going to stick. And she's had some rulings that are pretty intense. In the early 2000s, a group of prisoners sued the state, saying the overcrowding of the state prison was cruel and unusual. People on the lawsuit even included those that weren't convicted of any crime, just people waiting for trial. They said it was so crowded they had to sleep on the floor, and it was so close quartered that you would get splashed on by the toilets when the toilet flushed.
Damn.
Judge Robinson came back and said, too bad. You've got food, water, and a roof over your head, throwing it out.
Good for her.
Wow.
So she's tough, and there's a lot of them like that. But the ruling you would expect would be before July 27th. That is when their training camp starts. But who knows? She may just not care.
Well, thank you for that information. Yeah, that's really cool.
Iron fist judge there.
I don't mind it.
And it doesn't sound like she's going to pull any punches if she thinks that there's any kind of impropriety going on here with this Deshaun Watson situation. And it's not going to be very, very good for Deshaun, I think, in the very end. I was reading an article. It sounds like, I guess that they can come to an agreement before the judge actually gives a ruling. But it sounds like the NFLPA is just not having they're not entertaining the idea of a full year suspension. But I mean, ultimately Roger Goodell has the final say. I don't really know exactly which way he would be leaning, but if I had to guess, I mean, the NFL's got that image problem we've been talking about the last few episodes here. The image problem is a real thing for the NFL. And I think the only way that you can get grown men's attention is to really make examples of people. But at the same time, Deshaun Watson's a quarterback, man. They don't like punishing quarterbacks.
A couple things out about this. It's got to be 1 year indefinite, because if it's 10 games and in 8 games from now, 6 more women come forward, what do you do? So it's got to be, we'll review this. And if no one's come forward, okay, you're back in. And my other thing that makes me, the whole situation makes me angry, because what this basically is a workplace complaint, right? Because there's no criminal stuff in it. If either one of y'all or me, whoever, we go to work and one of these cases comes up about us, gone. Not even a question, as we probably should be, right?
Yep.
He's got 24 of them, and maybe he'll get a year. Maybe.
There is only one scenario that would put Roger Goodell powerless. And that's if the ruling comes down that he gets no punishment. That's the only scenario where Goodell can't step in and intervene. If there's no discipline that's ruled against him, he can't do anything about it. Now, if he's given 2 years, I'm just making up an example, 2 years, he can lessen it. But if it's 0, he can't do anything about it.
Yeah. So from what I understand, both sides, I guess, have presented their case or whatever, and now the judge is letting them, I guess they submit a written form, a written rebuttal, I guess. and then she reviews both sides of that, and then she'll render her verdict there, her whatever, her opinion, and then dole out some sort of punishment if she deems it necessary, and if she deems that he violated the personal conduct policy of the league. And they're saying this could, what they say, it could last another month. Is that what I heard?
I just don't think we know. I mean, I'm looking at I literally was checking my phone while you were talking, just to make sure like there wasn't something out now, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, we could be doing another emergency podcast this afternoon. We just don't know.
Seriously. I mean, that's how. I don't understand how it could take another month. I really don't. I think that this is one of those things that she'll probably look at this and she's probably already got her mind made up. She's just probably trying to do her due diligence, so to speak, and be a good judge, which, hats off to her for that. But I don't see this being drawn out too much, because I think that there's a timeline here where people want to know the answers.
The only way it takes that long, in my opinion, I'm very conspiracy theory today, is if the NFL went to her and said, let's punish the Browns, because you're going to suspend him for a year, wait until it's the middle of training camp for it to come out. Then they're screwed. They're stuck with Jacoby because Jimmy G is gone by then. They don't have a plan, and just punish them for making this absolutely horrifically stupid move in this contract.
Man, I see you wearing that burnt orange. Are those Cleveland Browns colors? Is that what I'm hearing? A Cleveland Browns sympathist over there? Sympathizer?
Yeah. Hey, if I could go back and redo our show from last year where we kick out of teams, I'm on board, baby. Cleveland.
Bye, Ohio.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, there could be a portion of that that's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not a Cleveland guy. You've heard me. I rag on the entire state of Ohio. Obviously, the Cincinnati Bengals shoved it right up my ass this last year, but Cleveland's still doing Cleveland things. So I could definitely see the Cleveland fans getting on board with Parker's little theory there that the league's out to get them, so to speak, and that they're all armed up to make a run this year. They got a quarterback they thought that they could win with. They putting all these pieces around them, and defensive line's still incredible. And now they're going to pull the rug out from under them. And not only that, they're going to put them in a situation where they're not going to be able to recover. Like you said, it could be years before they recover.
And I'm not crying about it.
Nope. Not at all. Not at all. Anything else going on?
Good discussion.
Anything else? What do we think? Anything else going on around the league? Like I said, we may end up having as soon as this thing comes down, we're going to have to probably drop everything and kind of do an emergency broadcast.
We just want to keep this one kind of Baker centric.
Yep.
Tie it back to Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
Thank you, Parker, for the information about the judge.
Yep. I got to tell you, Baker is probably the happiest guy in all this to get away from all this horse shit.
Will he have a new commercial, Parker?
He makes a hell of a
he's
commercial.
Be cleaning up his new home. And in this commercial, while he's sweeping out the cobwebs, he should sweep Cam Newton right out of the damn arena right there. Just sweep him out.
Bye,
Get him out.
Bye.
It should just do an opening shot of him throwing Sam Darnold into the trash. Just taking out the trash, baby.
Not your
I'm Team Baker this year. As much as I ranted against him last year, the guy gave up $3 million in salary to make this happen voluntarily. He didn't have to do that.
Get this guy a Baker Mayfield shirt. Get him a jersey. Come on, Baker.
We'll see if they're going to the playoffs on our prediction show or not.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's all I got.
All right. Well, hey, guys, thanks for joining us today on DDS Sports Talk. We ask that you go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button down below for us. Share this video with all your friends. Hit the Rumble button on Rumble. Check us out on all our social media, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at DDS Sports Talk. Audio versions of all these podcasts are available on your favorite podcasting platform, so go follow us there too. Gentlemen, final thoughts.
Well, from the stylings of the silver-tongued poet, Philly's own A.J. Brown, quote, "Like I recently learned how the moon controls the tide of the ocean, and if the moon gets off its axles, it will affect the water and volcanoes will erupt," end quote.
We should have this should just be called the AJ Brown Poet Corner right
axles.
here.
Like I recently learned how the moon controls the time.
You know, I mean,
I'm never going to be able
just
to.
got a broken axle.
I'm never going to be able to win this segment again.
No, you're not.
My final thought is going to Dallas, Texas. It has come to my attention that Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, has created a new partnership.
No,
That's how he makes money. Get the revenue streams. He has created a new partnership with Black Rifle Coffee Company. And this partnership took place, Parker, one day after the shootings in Chicago, a month and a half after the Uvalde incidents. This is a horrible look. If you look this up, Black Rifle Coffee Company, they're ran by veterans.
Mm-hmm.
They promote guns. They have AR-15 silhouettes over Texas flags, American flags. It's a horrible look, Jerry Jones. I know what you're going for here. You're going for a free cup of Joe. It's just a bad look, man. It's just another reason why the majority of NFL fans don't like you.
Can't argue with that. It is a bad look, but what do you expect from Jerry Jones? My final thought is congratulations to Roman Yossi on the birth of his new child.
Papa Preds Nation.
Papa Yossi. Anyways, guys, that's all we got for today. I'll just know one thing, as usual. It's two-tone blue all the way. You guys be well.